toast to their career.
The perfect combination, boy.
Hip hard legends in the South.
This is sports fans' only home for the hottest sports show around. These guys are on fire.
You're now listening to KJ and Shawn Mack. Let's talk some damn sports.
Welcome back to Sports Fans Only with your host KJ and Shawn Mack. Now today we're going to do something a little different. Usually you just see our two ugly mugs in the camera, but today we got three extra Gila monsters on the show. So I want to introduce them. We got my man Jean Renaud of Business Fans Only. He's one of our co-partners with SFO. Of course, everybody knows Shawn Mack. What up, brother? How you doing today?
Check, greet him how I always greet him. What's good, baby?
Chilling, man. Chilling. And we got Big Mike. Well, we call him Big Mike. His name is Michael Little. He's down there in Florida. What's that, Northport, Florida?
No, I'm in Naples now.
Naples. Your mother's in Northport, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. And, yeah, he was a great basketball player in high school, went to AIC for college, played Division II college. He's been on the show a few times. And, of course, the infamous Kenji Tillman. I know everybody who's ever listened to the show has heard me speak specifically about Kenji. He gets brought up probably every 2 to 3 shows. So the guy down there at the bottom, that is the man I speak of when I speak of Kenji. And we decided to have a little round table talk and get the boys together and talk a little NBA, right? That's what we're gonna do, right? A little NBA. We're gonna go through the eras and kind of vouch for who we think is the best, what era we think is the best, and just have a nice little discussion. How's that sound? Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Damn,
yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're going to get into it. In the way, I was kind of wondering how we were going to kick this thing off, but you said something interesting, Gene, earlier before we started, and you actually said, which kind of blew my mind for a second, I'm glad you said this, you said that the 1960s era of basketball was the greatest basketball era of all time. Is that correct?
I completely agree.
Oh, well, take the floor, please, because you must explain yourself.
All right, so we only got 5 people on the show, and, we only got 5 decades that you really go over. And I was going to say the 60s because the 60s was pure basketball. I'm talking about dribble the ball, put the ball in the damn hoop, and that's all you got to do, man. And it was a small group, and it ended up turning into what it is today. Without the 60s, we ain't got shit. But I want to talk about the 70s because that's around the time that I was born and things were a little crazy, right? So we're talking about, before I even get into that, I want you guys to think about football for a second. Football was doing very good until the AFL came together and then they combined the NFL together and had their first Super Bowl. All of a sudden, the whole world knew about football. And what is football today? One of the top sports ever. The NBA got lucky and they got in contact with the ABA. And the ABA was very flashy at the time. Should I say like a little crazy, a little too showman-like. Mm-hmm. And they were dunking whenever they wanted. The rules were kind of lax. Cocaine was everywhere. Expansion was everywhere. Salary inflation started going a little crazy. Our first little taste of free agency came from the 70s, right? And left-wing politics kind of started taking over. We had gas shortages. But in 1976, something special happened. The ABA and the NBA came together and had one of their first All-Star games. And guess what happened? You got people like Dr. J dunking from the free throw line. You got the close the door, boy. I'm trying to talk sports here. Sports fans only.
Close the door, boy.
He's never heard of these names, and some of y'all never heard of these names. Let me just go over it real quick. We're talking about cool nicknames like the Iceman, George Gervins. We talking about Dr. J. All right. We talking about, I love this one, Daryl, Chocolate Thunder Dawkins. We talking about Bill Walton. You know what I'm saying? These names solidify what the NBA is today. And without Bob McAdoo, you know what I'm saying? Without the time of substance that came from that era, it ended up being like the best era of basketball. Now, we can't compete with the type of salaries y'all are about to talk about. We can't compete with pulling out your phone and getting the score of the game literally 2 seconds as it's happening. You have to wait for the newspaper at my time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You have to wait weeks, and we talking about like 10,000 people might come see a game. Now we're talking about 40, 50,000 in the stadium, and these and the 3-point line was because of the 70s. We brought it to y'all. All right, now they pushed it back. I don't even want to talk about what they're doing to that 3-point line today, but I guess y'all will. You know, dunking the hoop. I don't even want to talk about what y'all about to talk about. It all came from us, baby. 1970s, best era in basketball. Pure, competitive.
What you
Nice
say?
points.
Okay. What you
I
say?
think
about
I'm gonna
that?
stay.
I
think
gotta
I'm gonna
say,
stay right
you
there.
made some good points right there because the names that's some good players right there.
Yeah, definitely made some good points. One correction, I caught you said free agency didn't start till 1989. You said in the 70s.
No, but I
Yeah.
understood what he meant, though. He
No, I
meant
know.
ABA going into the.
No, I just
ready
for the listeners, just in
Yeah.
case somebody heard him say it, and then forgot to mention Will Chamberlain.
And
That's
of
all.
course, Will.
Well, other than that, you said everything. I completely agree with. But yeah. So who's next? Who's taking over next?
Let me just hop in and get this straight because
All right, go ahead.
let the winner just win right fast.
The 80s.
We're gonna start with the 80s. Like he said, that the 70s was the birth, but we took it to a whole next level. I'm gonna run mine down by MVPs, Hall of Famers, and then rings. Because some people on this thing pointing at you, Keith, don't think championships and shit mean nothing. But let me run down a little something to you.
Never said that, but go ahead.
Stats don't mean nothing. That's what you said. All right, we're gonna go with the 1980s MVPs. So we're gonna go from the 1980 to 1989. Okay. We got Kareem, Dr. J, Moses won it in 82 and 83. 84, 85, 86, Larry Bird won it. 87, Magic won it. 88, Jordan won it. 89, Magic won it again. That's just my MVPs. My Hall of Famers from that era. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready? My Hall of Famers: Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Aldous Gilmore, Ralph Sampson, Bill Lambert, Dennis Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, Bernard King, Sidney Moncrief, Jack Sigma, Charles Barkley, Alice English, George Gervin, Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Adrian Dantley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin McHale, James Worthy, Dominique Wilkin, Julius Erving, Dr. J, Kareem, and the GOAT, Michael Jordan. That's 24 Hall of Famers out of the 80s. I stopped at 24. Out of those 24 people, how many championship rings you think they got all together? That's all right. Y'all don't have to say nothing. It's 34. I didn't count Hakeem's. I didn't count Jordan's. Theirs came in the 90s.
Yep.
I'm done.
Very swift and
wow.
very swift and brutal.
Dagger right there.
That's to the jugular right there, for real. That's straight to the jugular.
All right.
No, definitely. Well, hey, Mike, before you go, I just had a great idea. Kenji, after we all go, do you just give your idea of everything that you heard, and then we'll start our little free-for-all debate after that? That work like that? All right. I like what you said too, Shawn Mac. You had some good points. I'm gonna get you though, after Mike. But go ahead, Mike.
Well, I took the 90s, right? So in my discussion about the 90s, first thing I would bring up is the fact that the game became, I would almost say, globally understood as being a great game. This is where Michael Jordan starts. I know Shawn decided to try to claim Michael for the 80s, but it's not.
Remember, I didn't take a championship from him.
May I have my time? May I have my time?
Yeah.
May I have my time? Michael Jordan is the premier face of the NBA and premier player of the 90s, period. And I would actually bring you over to that Bleacher Report where they said that the 1998 NBA championship was the highest rated championship of NBA history. So the fact that the 90s actually brought in such a huge global market, I think speaks to the fact that that decade of basketball was entirely the greatest. I think also you have to think about the fact that the 90s kind of gave you that perfect in between that roughhousing 80s style and the more fluid game that we have today. It's the perfect marriage of perfect basketball right there. You still have big men. You still have Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dave Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal still being relevant factors in the game, unlike today. But you also have great guard play. You got Michael Jordan, you got Scottie Pippen, you got Tim Hardaway, Anthony Hardaway. You have all these extremely Latrell Sprewell. you know, you have a perfect mix of different teams and the composite makeup of these teams, where you have a power forward and a point guard that could possibly bring you a chip. You got, you know, power. We got a guard and a forward in Chicago. I mean, think about New York. New York looked like a whole bunch of bruises, but you still had Patrick Ewing giving you like 24 and 10 every night, and you also had like, you know, John Starks, you know, out there shooting threes and playing hard-nosed defense. Which again brings me to my last little point, because I know I'm taking a mad time. The fact that we were able to play defense back then, without you know, suplexing people onto the hardwood, we were still out there playing great defense, great fundamental basketball. It was a beautiful, beautiful era.
Okay, I agree.
I mean,
don't you ever mention John Starks when we talking about greatness again, boy.
If you can't respect the game of John Starks as it pertains to the era of basketball he played in, then there's a lot of basketball players that you're not gonna be able to respect that gave a lot to it. I mean, I don't know about
Jordan kind of just
you talked about the greatest stars. I'm talking about the composite of the game. I'm talking about your I guess you would say somewhat average player, but had so much heart. I mean, look how he touched the game. He had one bad game, and which cost him a championship. So you can talk about Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets all you want. One bad game went 7, and he made like 3 shots in that game.
Without my era, it is none of your era.
Oh, and by the way,
era.
if you're, I'm claiming for my era as well. Shaquille O'Neal,
can have him.
Kobe Bryant,
Can have
Kevin
him.
Garnett, and Tim Duncan as well. I got Allen Iverson in my era. I got massive in my. Hey,
I don't know.
I don't know,
You
man.
can't be Kobe, because Kobe came in '96 along with Ray
96.
Allen.
I
and
know.
Allen Iverson.
96 was a beautiful
That's right.
year.
And Tim Duncan came in 98.
Yeah.
98. And he played a half a year, basically. He played
Duncan didn't come in '98.
Hold on.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
No,
That was
he didn't.
he won it his rookie year.
His rookie year. Actually came in.
Right now.
Yeah.
Duncan didn't come in before Cole? Didn't Duncan come before Cole?
No.
Nah.
Yeah, he did. No. Wait, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Duncan played with
he
didn't he
did.
play with Chris Paul?
No.
No.
Chris Paul's freshman year.
Wait, we can
No,
all
first
agree
off,
that
y'all
Duncan won
jumping
it
all
his.
over my time.
Wait,
Y'all
can we
jumping all
all
over my
agree
time.
that Duncan won it his first year, right?
Yeah, he did. And that was 99.
That was the strike year
No.
when they played
Yeah.
99.
Yeah.
That wasn't his rookie year, though.
Hold
That
on.
was his rookie year.
Hold on.
Yes, that was his rookie year. My
Yeah,
bad.
check
Yes, it
that out,
was.
because that don't sound right.
No. It was the 97-98 season. Hold on. 97-98 season. Tim
98.
Duncan won rookie of the year.
Okay, so all right. Well, whatever.
But he came in
So-
97.
So you could keep I mean, so we're gonna it's gonna cross over some players. Like for instance, me, I'm doing the 2010s till now. Obviously, LeBron James was drafted in 2004, I think it was, but he played most of his career in this last decade. So anyway,
the last decade.
And Mike, I commend you. Very good points. But I'm glad you.
But it's okay.
I'm glad you referenced. I was trying to figure out where I was going to start off at, and I'm glad you referenced John Starks and how he did battle Michael Jordan, and at times he held his ground more sufficiently, like a lot.
Close.
Now hold on. Now we're talking about John Starks. Hold on.
Getting disrespectful.
No, did he not though? Did he not hold his own against Michael? He did, right?
He played well.
Okay.
That's all I can say. He
That's
played
beautiful.
well.
Thank you
He
for
was
bringing
tough.
that up.
Yeah,
Okay, so and I always reference, and mostly these guys. Gene will probably be the only one who will side with me on most of the points I'm about to make. So, so here we go.
It's about to be a LeBron James love fest.
Nah, no, it ain't. It's
You
me.
said that shit.
Well, hold on, let me get my flow. Oh, damn, it said we run out of time already.
Oh my God.
10 minutes already. All right, let me get my little thing off real quick. We might have to and do a second part to this after this, because that was, well, maybe not. Anyway, so what I was going to say, I always say this era has the most, as far as athletic, you all agree with me on this, the most athletic and the most, as far as strength and all that stuff goes. This era is, no, you don't. All right, let me just finish.
Yeah.
Just overall, athletically, this era is the most athletic generation overall than any other generation. You combine that with the generation overall that can shoot better than any other era. You combine that with players who are taller and longer, more longer than they've ever been overall. You've always had your outliers in certain eras, but now you got dudes that are 6'6" with 7'8" wingspans. You know, crazy alien type dimensions.
That's my wingspan.
Yeah, well, you're an alien. I explain that. Yeah, so you combine all that, and then you have your Kevin Durant's, your LeBron James, your Steph Curry's, your Kawhi Leonard's, your Klay Thompson's, your Dwayne Wade's. You got your even borderline dudes like Draymond. Well, actually, he's not borderline. Draymond Green's definitely going to go into the Hall of Fame. Luka Doncic, if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be a walk-in first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, like all these dudes are like crazy dominant at their position. You put them back, put some of them dudes up against, put Westbrook against John Starks. I don't think John Starks, just because I'm not saying he's better than Jordan. I just don't think John Starks can stay with Russell Westbrook. He's just too fast and too quick.
The athletic part.
The athleticism would have taken over for him against a player like that. Jordan faced a lot of players like John Starks. Let's not make Byron Russell. All right, go ahead. Byron Scotts and your.
I think a lot of your highlights, a lot of your athleticism that's being displayed in today's game is a product of them taking away defense. At the end of the day, in the 90s, if you say John Starks had a limited skill base, the fact of the matter is that he had heart, and the fact that he could play physical with you would not allow Russell Westbrook to do the things that you're thinking he would do to John Starks. John Starks is a perfect example of that because, again,
you're just talking on defense.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. You didn't let me finish my point yet.
Your point was that today's players, they are more athletic.
Let's move it.
Yeah, let me finish my point real quick.
You're removing the fact that the rule changes and the way that they call the game allow for that offense to be expressed that way. If they did that, if they had to go back to those 90s, to those players, they would still score. They'd still be great stars, but they would not be doing what you think.
But why does anybody have to go anywhere? Why don't you just get somebody on the court? You go one-on-one. I'm taking Russell Westbrook over John Starks every day, any day. No, I'm just saying. I'm talking about talent, dog.
Yeah.
You talking about rules. I'm talking about talent. And Jordan had a tough time. As much as he did buzz John Starks at night, as much as he buzzed John Starks night on many occasions, there was many occasions that John Starks dropped 28. He had 30 points, or he had a constant 24, 25. Like, he put up good numbers against the greatest of all time. And all I'm saying is Jordan faced a lot more players like that than, say, a LeBron did or Kevin Durant did at his position in this day and age. The talent pool at Kevin Durant's position is way larger than the players that Jordan had to play against. And I want somebody to go, because we don't have much time. I have way more points.
I got one point. Let me say something.
Like Kenji getting that.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All that I say is, you make good points, Keith, but I do think there were big men back then that had the athleticism, the strength. You had the LJs, Anthony Mason, the Karl Malones. So the wing has changed. But I think the big man has had athletic and strength for a long time now.
Oh, well, the big men would have killed the big men today. That's not even.
That's the balance. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's
Right. Them post players back then would eat these dudes up for breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that.
Right. And I love the post game from back in the day.
And one more thing, let me just. I want to preface, because I don't want nobody to kill me in the comments. Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. I believe that with all my heart. But I do believe people have this mysticism about him to where they overlook little certain things that he dealt with in his career just because they want to say he's the GOAT. They overlook the first round defeats in the first 3-4 years of his career. They overlook he didn't do anything without Scottie Pippen or Phil Jackson.
No, I agree with that. Or the bums that he had to play against a couple of times.
Yeah, he played that. Those Cleveland teams, although they were good. I'm not saying that they were very good.
That team is better than most teams right now, Keith. That Cleveland team you about to talk about.
With those rules back then, yes. Would that team be good? Would that team be good now?
Yeah, they would.
In 2000, no. All the stretch play. What? Larry Nance wouldn't be the player he was back then. Now,
on everybody like he did back then.
He'd be Clint Capella. That's all he'd
No,
be.
he wouldn't.
Well, why not?
Elo will kill them dudes that's out right now. Mark Price.
He wouldn't get the ball in the post.
Mark Price what the
No, I'm just saying. Mark Price was, but I'm just somebody like Larry Nance wouldn't get the ball in the post no more. That doesn't happen.
He got it on the wing and running.
But, oh, he was a slasher. So you're saying he's a Giannis? You're saying he would have been a Giannis?
Yeah.
You're saying Larry Nance?
Yeah. Let's go that far.
All right, damn it, man. We're running out of time.
We are running out of time.
Yeah, damn. What happened to Kenji? Oh, wait. Oh, he switched down there. Yeah, you want to wrap it up, and then we could just do a part 2 of this?
We got to do a part 2. This is incomplete right now, man.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that. Sound good to you, Shawn Mack? Because I know it's about to cut us off in a second now.
Yeah.
So let's do that. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We're definitely there's gonna be a part 2 of this. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully within the next 5-6 days we'll do that. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. This is something we want to do more often, and we hope to bring it to you guys. So you guys want to say peace? Any last words?
Yeah, I got some last words. Right
we got 2 minutes. I just said it.
Of course,
I gotta say.
Of course, the '90s wants to have the last word.
The 90s has to get the last word. Y'all talking about Kyrie Irving and left out what's my man's name? Rod Strickland. Y'all left out Kenny Anderson. These people.
But that's not my era.
I'm saying when you talking about what they would do, Kenny Anderson would go in this league and destroy people.
I was talking about the people Jordan guarded. There was some great point guards, but Jordan didn't guard that. I was talking about the shooting guards. But anyway, once again, this.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Another thing I want to say, my cousin Shawn brought up James Worthy. That made me happy. So
there you go.
Oh, gotta respect that, man. Gotta respect that.
Everybody know James was my man.
Big game James, baby. Big game James.
Right.
Any last words, Gene?
Oh man, I'm just glad that the '70s actually birthed the modern game.
Yeah.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. We're gonna wrap this up and continue this next time. But anyway, it's been nice. This is Sports Fans Only. I'm your host KJ and Shawn, and that's Shawn Mack.
And this is Sports Fans Only.
See you next time.
Peace.